The Fallout franchise is well and truly finally dead. It's been a good ride, my friends, but pack it up, it's finally over. It is official. Obsidian is making the new Fallout game. Is it some kind of alternative to Fallout New Vegas? Who knows? At the end of the day, no one cares. I would not trust Obsidian Entertainment to label correctly the male and female genders, let alone allow them to make another game. Have you seen Avowed? Hopefully not, it's abysmal. Have you seen The Outer Worlds too? These things are piles of absolute garbage. They are woke beyond belief and sad beyond understanding. Fallout is dead, and nothing can save it. I'm pretty much just putting it right now. Clip it and ship it, boys. The Fallout franchise is dead for the next 10 years. After Obsidian now gets to royally fuck up whatever they're planning to do, Xbox is just gonna do the only thing that these corporate soulless suits are capable of doing, and that is, well, we couldn't have failed. I guess no one just likes Fallout. And it's gonna be put on ice for, the typical spiel of almost a decade. That's gonna be the future. Clip it and ship it, I'm gonna be right.
How, bro? How? After all this time, it was that easy. It was this easy. Think of the years of me on my hands and knees in this office begging Obsidian Fallout, please, Phil, Sarah, Matt, someone.
The true, unquestionable tourist opinion.
Throw me a goddamn bone. Give us more Fallout. It's complicated, Matty. You don't get it. Plans are in motion. Look how quickly it has happened. How is this possible? I cannot process. I mean, I've never been more equal parts excited as I am frustrated.
By the way, if there is one decision that Asha Sharma probably has made for Xbox on her own, it's this. It's the layoffs and concentration on these IPs and everything that's currently doing. That is the only thing she probably has actually done herself at this point. Kind of crazy.
That, yes, finally, but also, dude, how did she flip the switch this quickly? We're actually getting a new...
It's not complicated. You own these companies. These people have no right to tell you no. You just literally come to Obsidian and say, you're now making Fallout. Stop with the Avowed garbage. Make Fallout garbage. And they can't say no. I don't understand these liberals and their not understanding of ownership. Like, Maddie, Microsoft owns Obsidian. They literally choose what they do and what they don't. It's not that hard. Their job is to make games. It's like someone in McDonald's making burgers. You can't go and work in McDonald's and be a chef or at the window and be like, no, I don't want to make burgers today now. I'm gonna do something else. That's not how it works.
Fallout video game, and given that it's a retooling of an existing game that's been in development for a couple of years, we actually might get it soon, and it's not just gonna be a remake, remaster, like it's an actual new Fallout game from a team that a lot of people have wanted to see a new Fallout game from, that still has all the senior leadership that was there during that prize Fallout game in New Vegas. Like, it was so...
Yeah, all of the people who were made something 20 years ago now haven't done anything. It's crazy. It is crazy to me that some people are just like this bafflingly non-coherent. Dude, if I did something 20 years ago and I have not done it since, do you think I'm good at that thing? Probably not really. Probably definitely not really. And these developers, everyone who's working now on whatever this game is supposed to be, like, look at their history. They haven't done anything since Fallout New Vegas. Everything they have done and touched has turned to trash. If a developer from 20 years ago continues to make good games throughout the years, I kind of trust that. That's kind of Hideo Kojima and everything that he does. You kind of trust that he's going to deliver on the thing that you probably like, because he has a little history of doing that for decades at this point. These people working on whatever Fallout game this is don't have that. They have the opposite. They have one thing 20 years ago, and now in to this point they have nothing.
Obvious. I can't believe it took her stepping in and going, why don't we have more Fallout? Why don't we have this team on it? And here we are. Now, look, I know the world's burning down with Xbox, but I figured at least my excitement could convey to some of the teams there. Like, there are people who are still excited about things you're doing, man. Like, I am so excited at the
Yeah, me, for example.
premise of an Obsidian-led Fallout game. Their writing is a bit questionable, but when you play The Outer Worlds 2 and you look at
A bit questionable. Just a bit questionable, boys. Don't worry. It's just a bit questionable. It's all the negative criticism about Avowed and its horrible fucking dipshit writing. About Avowed and the same problems, the blatantly no one cares scenarios, everything. It's just a bit questionable.
the systems, the skill checking, the loot, like all these things that I think made New Vegas special were in that game, just the right.
No. No. Absolutely not even close. Not a single skill check meant anything. And dude, this is just a low IQ at its finest, honestly. And there's no way to sugarcoat. I'm sorry, Maddie, but if you think that the New Vegas skill check system was even remotely properly implemented in Avowed or the Outer Worlds 2, you're off your meds. That's just fact. Every single skill check in the Outer Worlds or Avowed led to nothing. Your biggest impact from skill checks was, do you want to open the door with strength? Or do you want to open the door with computer terminal? That this was your biggest impact. And I'm not even joking. You understand how sad that is that I'm not joking about that, right? Not a single dialogue choice where you had like a proficiency check, a background check, or anything mattered. It just unlocked you a throwaway dialogue line and nothing changed. If you think that this is what made Fallout New Vegas choices good, that is insanely misunderstanding why people love the game.
Writing needs to be better. The campaigns need to be better. It's like the one X factor that we will talk about. But when you see who's leading the project, I'm like, dude, this is what we've been begging for in so many ways. Let's talk about it. It's a literal bombshell report here from Jason Schreier of Bloomberg. So let's dive in. The article is titled Microsoft's Xbox to Shift Obsidian Studio to New Fallout Video Game. Obsidian Entertainment, a subsidiary of Microsoft's Xbox, has canceled multiple projects and will begin working on a new game in the popular Fallout franchise as part of the division's broader.
By the way, you know that I actually question about this, and I never talked about it, but it has bugged me ever since I read this. The fact that Obsidian has canceled multiple projects. They only had Avowed 2 and Grounded 2 that they were working on, so the hell are we talking about multiple projects? That does not track. Especially after Obsidian said that they are gonna concentrate on one thing. Doing multiple things is bad.
Restructuring, according to people familiar with the matter. The video game studio also laid off around a quarter of its workforce, said the people who asked not to be identified because they weren't authorized to speak to the press. Now, this is building off the back of a story that we read from Kotaku just a little bit ago. And in that story, Kotaku said after Obsidian lost about 25% of their workforce, the people at Obsidian were wondering how they were going to balance all of these different projects. And as I was talking about it with Cog, I had
idiots. Of course you're not balancing it.
One game that immediately came to mind. I said, that's taken up a lot of talent, and that talent could go work on something else that has a higher chance of success that I think more people want. And I think it's a barrier for Obsidian right now, where a lot of them believe in the project and want to overcome their demons, but a lot more people on the outside want something else. And that's exactly what transpired, and you'll hear me bragging about that to Cog on this week's Defining Duke. But the post continues saying, as part of the shakeup, Obsidian has canceled a planned sequel to the 2025 role-playing game Avowed, along with other unannounced projects. Now, before we get to all the fun stuff with what's going on with this new Fallout game, allow me to quickly say, when it comes to an Avowed 2, I understand the desire because there were parts of Avowed that had a lot of potential where Obsidian would want to...
Potential. Not a single part of Avowed was good. Yes.
Try again, right? This was a messy project, started off as Skyrim, but also an MMO, turned into a single player thing, but also you could feel the bones of an old multiplayer game there. And for me, as someone who's been a fan and player of most Obsidian games since 2004 with Knights of the Old Republic 2, I confidently say that Avowed was their worst project. I think in a world where Xbox is feeling a little risky, you could swing in Avowed 2 and see what comes of it. But I think just like they're repurposing a seemingly Fallout adjacent project into something Fallout, I think the way Avowed 2 gets over the line is by repitching it as an Elder Scrolls spinoff. But Avowed was easily Obsidian's most controversial game. Socially speaking, it led to a lot of headaches for them. And not only that, but the game didn't really back up its talk. And when I played it, I said it was fine, but I thought Obsidian was capable of more. This led to a lot of division over the quality of the game. And then later that year, I felt Outer Worlds...
There is no division. People en masse think about this shit. Again, no one bought these games. They think the fact that no one buys these games is like some kind of good thing?
To delivered on what I...
If 5 people buy a game, that doesn't mean it's a masterpiece.
Properly know Obsidian.
If a game gets an award from you know, some kind of random bullshit award ceremony that literally doesn't even ask for the opinion of gamers, that doesn't mean gamers wanted it. It doesn't mean it's good. It doesn't mean it deserves the award. Oh, these studios that have so many awards. Yes, because they got awards. Those awards are meaningless.
For barring some of the writing. So look, I'm going to be honest. I think Avowed being canceled is a good thing for both Obsidian's future, because I don't think a lot of people would have shown up for it if the numbers for Avowed, which was a certified flop, not just from fan perspective or Steam player count, but Obsidian themselves admitted it. Then if that did not do well, I don't really believe in just doubling down on that, where you could spend your time and money and energy in another project with higher potential. And Obsidian had many of those, to be fair. As for the plan moving forward, I can't believe I'm reading this, dude. Under the new plan, studio design director Josh Sawyer will lead a new title in the Fallout universe. The emerging strategy is still in flux, the people said, and could still change. Previously, Sawyer had been directing a role-playing game that was similar structurally and thematically to Fallout, but was not part of the franchise. So they're repurposing something that was in existence.
Honestly, I already yapped about this at the start. So I don't really have much to add here.
For, who knows, maybe a couple of years, and turning it into a Fallout game. Which the exciting part with this is, A, the man who directed New Vegas is back directing another Fallout game.
The man who did the thing 15 years ago and it was accidental is doing something again. Hype. Yeah, no.
What an amazing feeling here. I don't know how Sawyer feels about it. He might be like, damn, I kind of like that thing I was working on. I don't know. He seems to do a really good job from his YouTube channel as I watch him. I'm very fascinated.
Yo, what the hell is this? We need to get in on that.
The way he's just not attached to the things that he works on. I'm a lover, so I'm a bit different. I get attached to the things that I really enjoy in entertainment, but he seems very disconnected in that way. So maybe he really liked what he was working on, and he's like, damn, dude, I gotta do Fallout now. I don't know. He's always said he's been...
Oh no, he's doing these fucking garbage. Oh, this is what a game developer does type of videos. Artistic inspirations, emotional cores. The fuck is this? Oh wait, he's actually talking about art pieces? Yo, no, oh my god. Oh boy. I am predicting not a lot of killable NPCs in whatever game they make.
Open to working on Fallout. So I have to imagine there is some level of like desire to do this, especially if the project was adjacent to Fallout and he just couldn't like work on the IP. Maybe this is a good scenario for him. I can't say for sure, but for me as a fan, I read this and I get hyped, dude. I'm like, he's there. We still have people like Leonard Boyarsky, Tim Kaine in the building. We have John Gonzalez, who is the lead writer of New Vegas. He's also in the building. We still have Fergus Urquhart. Like all of these OGs, the senior talent that made New Vegas so great, that were part of that alongside supporting talent. The main one that's missing, the one that kills me, is Chris Avellone. His pen is missing so badly at Obsidian, you can tell. But I'm hoping that with John Gonzalez there,
I have a feeling Todd Howard said, okay, if you're making that, at least not get Chris Avellone there. Well, I'm out.
that can stabilize things a bit. But man, like if you had Avalon there on top of everything, I'd be through the friggin' roof more than I already am right now. Still, we've talked about this endlessly. You can find theory videos on the channel. A Josh Sawyer led Fallout project under Xbox makes so much sense. He's still there. Obsidian still has a lot of their senior talent. You have the IP at Xbox. What are we doing, baby? Now, they write here, Bethesda, what's their involvement in all this? Because that's what I was wondering, is like Obsidian on their own here. Well, Schreier writes that the Rockville, Maryland-based studio, so this is not like any of the other support studios, but rather like Todd's team is actually going to work with Obsidian on this new project. So this is where it gets interesting.
Yeah, I did not talk about this too much, but yeah. So this is not actually technically going to be Obsidian's game, I guess, even. It's going to be Bethesda's Fallout. Because Todd Howard is going to have to stamp his seal of autism on everything they do.
Interesting, because speaking of Avalon earlier, Avalon spilled the tea on some real interesting beef that occurred between Obsidian and Bethesda a long while ago. It's something to be really aware of. Like, they literally had a PowerPoint presentation breaking down to Obsidian what was wrong with New Vegas. And that is some crazy level of irony to have done that. Granted, water on the bridge, it's 2010 and so on afterwards, but to now have that be the most loved Fallout game by fans, man, what a humbling moment. So I'm hoping that it's Obsidian leading the charge here. Obsidian knows how to get games done. They release in a timely manner. But if Bethesda wants to oversee, I hope this is the case for other Xbox franchises. Like, how is Halo going to move forward? I hope other teams not known as Halo Studios are working on things. A lot of people have issues with Bethesda Game Studios right now. I do, and I grew up a super fan of them. I don't think until I see Bethesda get their shit right, I want to see them working on Fallout. I'd rather Obsidian, who at least with Outer Worlds 2, it wasn't the best game they've made, but it was pretty good. I'd rather them, who has a higher chance of delivering a high-quality Fallout project, lead.
No, we have a higher chance at fucking giving a dog sentience and allowing it to make a Fallout game be successful.
The charge here.
ChatGPT can unironically make a better Fallout game.
As for like what it can be, like they don't really talk about the type of Fallout it is. Is this going to be adjacent to old school Fallout? Because Obsidian's never shied away from CRPG titles. Sawyer got his kind of experimental game in Pentiment. I did an interview with him alongside Cog on Defining Duke, and when we talked to Sawyer, he admitted in that interview something that never really got picked up is that he twisted Xbox's arm a little bit to get that project over the line. Like he basically said, if you don't want me to walk, then you need to let me make this. And so this is where those deals, like you can thank Phil, I think, for that one, because this led to Sawyer sticking around, and because he's sticking around, he's leading this next Fallout game. But since he got that experimental title done, Pentiment didn't sell overall that well. I don't know if this is going to be CRPG led, kind of like a Pillars Eternity style game, if this is going to be more of like a first person thing, because we know Obsidian has a ton of those. Avowed was first person.
There is no world where it's a top down perspective Fallout game. You gotta be crazy at this point. And by the way, something I was saving for a different video, but might as well say it now. Xbox is currently in a really bad position, and it needs multiple giant hits. Like, literally talking about Baldur's Gate, multiple Baldur's Gate 3 tiers of successes for Xbox to not eviscerate themselves even further in the upcoming year and a half to 2 or 3 years. Because if they don't have these massive successes, it's going to be over. And if I had to place my money, this is one of the things that they're banking on. And then it's the Bethesda Elder Scrolls 6 that they are banking on. That these are two of the projects that they are banking on big at this point. And, boys, we know that both of them are going to be bad. There is no world where Bethesda after Starfield makes a good game. There is no world where Obsidian after Avowed and the Outer Worlds makes a good game. We know that these companies cannot do this. We know that they literally just can't. They don't have it in them. It's going to be woke, it's going to be bad, it's going to be boring. There's not going to be any bright sides here.
Of course, Outer Worlds 2 and 1 were first person, so they could go in that direction. I've always loved the idea of Xbox taking the Fallout IP and kind of giving it out to different developers, because I think as much as I want a new modern style Fallout game, I look at what Larian did with Baldur's Gate, right? And I don't say this as someone who has like a ton of lineage with Baldur's Gate. I still haven't finished 1 or 2, but Baldur's Gate 3 was awesome, but the way it brought so much of the tabletop RPG experience to the video game format, while also respecting a lot of the heritage of BG1, of BG2. I'd love to see a tactical Fallout game like Fallout 1 and 2 modernized the same way that Larian modernized BG1 and 2 a bit with BG3. Could Obsidian be doing something like that as they did with Pillars of Eternity, with Tyranny? Maybe. Could it just be a traditional first-person Fallout game? That would also be sick. I just am so jazzed to know, like, dude, it's not just a remaster and 76 updates and a TV show, an actual new game. I can't. Maybe this ages poorly and like it ends up being a disastrous game. I don't know, but I'm just happy we're finally getting what we want. Now, in reading more, what's happening with the rest of Obsidian? They say Obsidian released 3 games last year, 2 of which did not meet sales expectations, including Avowed, the company told Bloomberg Businessweek. The studio has been hoping to build on Avowed by developing a sequel in a shorter time frame using the world and technology that it already created, so basically flipping assets. Progress on the sequel was going well and was on track to be announced within the next year, which is pretty impressive here, but in the end, it did not fit into Sharma's overall strategy, according to people familiar with the game's development. So basically, it's not Fallout, it's not Elder Scrolls, we're not going to do another fantasy series adjacent to Elder Scrolls. So again, I think the main hope that Avowed 2 has is going into the Elder Scrolls category. That's because they're still working on it a little bit. They say some employees at Obsidian will continue working on the Avowed sequel as they wait for new projects such as Fallout to be ready, perhaps in hope of one day reviving the game, the people said. Obsidian will also continue to develop downloadable content for last year's Outer Worlds 2, the people said, and will still work on its live service multiplayer game, Grounded 2. We have a little bit more clarity on this thanks to Man of the Hour here. Chris Avalone, he posted on his Twitter account, and obviously we know Chris's history with Obsidian. He's got some inside info here. He says that it seems Grounded is still going, mostly outsourced to Eidos Montreal anyway, so no surprise. Outer Worlds 2 expansion is still planned for now, and the first one is in September, so pretty busy month for that. And despite reports, Avowed 2 is still being worked on for now in the hopes of being repitched, whatever that means. And again, my guess is kind of reframing it as an Elder Scrolls game and pitching it. And then Obsidian's basically support studio for Bethesda, but they do get these projects out the door, and there is something there. All other projects at the studio, including the rumored Shadowrun game John Gonzalez was on, were put on pause. He says there's no mention of Pillars of Eternity games, so if Avowed 2 doesn't get a buyer or approval, it looks like maybe sometime or never before another Pillars game or Pillars of Eternity 3. I imagine the Shadowrun game is also what brought Tim Kaine into the building, because what he said he was working on wasn't Fallout. How some of the senior talent at Obsidian is going to be repositioned is going to be interesting. Is it possible some of this talent just leaves? That would change a level of excitement if I saw like, oh, Tim Kaine's out, John Gonzalez is out because their games are on pause. Or would they be excited to dive back into Fallout, to work on that, get the old band back together? I think that could be really exciting, and I hope that they...
Tim Kaine has been begging for... We have been covering this. Tim Kaine has been begging for, like... Since the Fallout TV show, I think? Work on a Fallout franchise, or work in general from, like, either Bethesda or Obsidian. Like, he has been pretty desperately begging. I think he's fine with working on anything at this point, and that's kind of it.
Stick around, all things considered here, but that's a little bit more detail on what's happening within Obsidian. I'm surprised that Outer Worlds 2 is getting its DLC. As someone who enjoyed the Outer Worlds 2, I think it would benefit from the DLC, but I also was saying to Cog when we were talking about potential cancellations, I said probably Outer Worlds 2 DLC, because it's like, game didn't sell well, does it really...
You can't cancel the DLC. We talked about this. Steam has a rule where if you say that the game is going to have a DLC, and then it doesn't, then people can ask for a refund on Steam and get bent. So, these companies have to make their fucking Starfield Shattered Space 2 hours long, 10 euro experiences, so people cannot refund the game. They have to do this.
Benefit from getting the DLC out, plus an Ultimate Edition. Could you spend those resources even if it's a smaller team elsewhere? I feel like Obsidian can still be a multi-project studio, but maybe slimming it down to like 2 to 3 instead of what seems to be 4 or 5 would make a lot of sense. And so, yeah, Outer Worlds 2 DLC loses out in that argument. Anyway, that's the long and short of it for what's happening with Obsidian. Just a real holy shit moment.
Oh, this felt fast.
Dude, like it's actually happening. Whether it's good or bad, we'll figure it out when the time arrives. But like, wow, like Fallout remasters on the docket, a new Fallout game from Obsidian.
Yep, and all of this is gonna be bad. There's literally no hope. The Fallout franchise is gonna be put on ice because of this failure. Oh boy. Anyway, thanks for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already. That was Mr. Manny. Like the video right now. Takes less than a second. Thank you for doing so, and have a nice day. Bye bye.